Hello, Saeed, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Is this Saeed?
Yes.
Oh, how are you doing? I actually said it a different way. And you're a Sayeda, right?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from, Sayeda?
I'm from Pakistan and I live in Dubai. And currently, I'm a medical student at Charles University in Prague.
Oh, welcome. Do you have a camera?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you should start showing your face. You're going to be a neurosurgeon, and people aren't going to talk to someone with a hood on their head.
Just a minute. Hold on.
Okay.
Hi, John.
Hello?
Can you add Iype to the playlist?
Okay. Okay, he said, hold on. Yeah, who's speaking? Oh, there's Iype.
John,
Hey, Iype, how you doing?
pretty good, John. So I can join after a few minutes.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes starts.
Okay, all right.
Okay, see you then.
Sure, John. Ahmed,
Yes,
to see
I'm
you.
right here. I'm so pleasure to see you too.
So looking forward to see you guys, all of you, in another 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Okay.
No issue with sound. Shukri Bistam, are you there? He was asking if there's an
Yeah,
issue.
yes, sir.
Oh, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. And how are you doing?
Hey, we have a great treat for you guys. Hey, listen, Ahmed,
Yeah.
I'm starting to do some other new stuff with Zoom. So
Okay.
what we're gonna do at the end of the presentation, I'm gonna give people the link, everyone the link for another Zoom. And it's not gonna be, it's gonna be private. It's just gonna be for the students and Iype and you and me. It's not gonna be televised. It's just to network. It's just for the students to get to know Iype and for you to do anything we want. It'll be informal. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, at the end of the lecture, okay?
Yeah. After it's over, I'm gonna say, okay, you're all invited to another Zoom, so that the panelists can meet each other
Okay, I get it.
in private. That's not it's not televised.
Okay, I
But
get
I'll
it.
give you the link at the end. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We got 15 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
We got 15 minutes. Okay. Time for your coffee.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we got a surprise for you guys. So stick around, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We'll meet you after, okay? I'll tell you about it.
Okay, sir.
You'll get to meet Iype also.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
Zanab, where are you from?
I'm from the Gambia.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry. I don't yell at me.
No, is it the volume? I'm sorry, sir.
I meet a lot of people, you know. I
I'm
forget,
sorry.
especially if I don't have their face. Where's your camera?
Okay, let me try.
Come on, you gotta get, people gotta get to know you. This is not a hiding game.
I'm still laughing because I didn't know that my volume is loud.
Yeah, hey, Iype, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, Iype, you muted, Iype, you muted.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Iype, we're trying something different.
Okay,
We're,
sure.
we're doing the same, presentation, but at the end, we're saying, okay, here's another link to come into a room, a private room with Iype
Okay.
and all the others to get to know each other. It's going to
Sure,
be
sure,
off,
John.
yeah, it's going to be offline, not recorded. Just you and the students and because that's one shortcoming I see, Iype, is kind of we're not getting to meet each other. Like there are a lot of people that I'm sure that you want to meet, that I want to meet. I see them in the conference and it gets mixed up. I can never talk to them. So I'm trying this.
Yeah. This, if you're not televising it, it'll be more personal. And of course, it'll be great to meet up all the people. And if they have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it.
Yeah, it'll be, it'll be optional. And I hope the speaker, most of the time wants to come so we can meet, especially the students,
Give me a second, John. Give me a second.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we got 5 minutes, Iype.
Hi, John.
So Ahmed, I'll just introduce you and then you just take it away, okay?
Okay, okay.
And introduce Iype and everything.
I want to just say about the next lecture.
Okay,
I hope to do it on Thursday, as we talked on WhatsApp. Okay.
or you want to do another lecture?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Maybe.
well, just send me the information, so let me know.
Yeah. Could I show you the design for that lecture now?
We can talk about it after, okay?
Okay, okay, as you're there.
Yeah, just send me the information online, the time and who
Okay,
it is and stuff like that.
Okay, sure.
Batson, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hi, John. How are you?
Who's this?
Byron Salazar from Ecuador.
Oh, hey, okay, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just can't talk right now because I'm attending patients here.
Oh, okay.
So I just gonna watch the show for now.
Byron from from Ecuador.
Yeah, from Ecuador.
Oh, okay, so good, you're just jumping in, that's good.
Hi,
Yeah,
bro.
you know, always supporting Iype and you with all
Okay,
your
you can
activities.
say, you can say hi to Iype. He's coming on in a few minutes if you want. You're with a patient,
Ah.
huh? So I won't bother you.
Yeah, okay. I'm just letting him wait for me a little bit.
Well, we're trying to change this a little bit, Byron. We're trying to get the people to meet the presenter after the show, you know what I mean? In private. So we're gonna do it the next time you guys have a webcast too.
Yeah,
So-
perfect. Perfect.
Hey, Byron wants to say hello, right? Go ahead, Byron.
Hi, how
Hey
are
guys,
you?
hey,
How are you,
good to see
Professor?
you. Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I'm just attending patients right now, so that's why I can't be participating a lot, you know. But I will be watching though.
Yeah, I understand. See, today, what I am going to talk about is the future of neurosurgery is you guys, okay? This is the LMICs. I mean, the Arabian neurosurgeons, I see a lot of good activities in the Middle East right now. Samir and his group. And I had this chap called Ahmed, who was my fellow from Yemen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I see a lot of promise there, and you have a lot of patience. It is not just a lot of fancy things that's going to define neurosurgery in the future. It's going to be innovative thinking. It's going to be a lot of patience, and it is unbridled thoughts. That's what you guys have. Okay, the West has gone into a phase where all their thoughts are, controlled, and there's a specific way to think, and there's a lot of problems there. So if you want to bring out a innovative device, you have FDA, you have 100 other nonsense
Yeah.
where
That's easy.
innovation is not supported. But you guys, like we in India, we not really bridled. Okay, we not really stopped from anything. So it is the same for you, and you are the future, you see. So this is what I want to tell you. Okay.
Yeah, that's great because we have to be more creative with all the things that we have. No, we don't have the latest technology, and even though we have to operate the same difficult tumors or lesions, and we have to get around somehow to try to make it work.
I will tell you something. I went to a country which is much poorer than most of the other countries, Nepal. 14 years back, I went there and I started doing surgery. Everybody told me you must publish, you must do this, do that. I didn't listen to anybody. I just started operating. I had many failures. I documented all my failures. I learned from them. I looked at my videos carefully and I learned more and more and more. And at the end of 14 years, I realized that we could do world-class surgery anywhere, anywhere. and instruments. When there is a need, it will come. For 10 years, I operated without much. So what I did is I just had an ICG microscope. I started off with a pico microscope. You see, that was something that in India, I was using it for something like animal lab, but that is what I started off in Nepal with. And then I convinced somebody that if I had an ICG microscope, that was way back in 2009. So I got a nice Molar ICG microscope and I operated 8 years with that. Okay. It was a fantastic thing. I got all my micro instruments cheaply made in India. And, later on, we got a facility which had an intraoperative 3 Tesla MR. Again, which I realized is a folly because there's no requirement. I mean, it's a white elephant. An intraoperative 3 Tesla MR is a white elephant. Nobody will tell you that, but I am telling you this. Okay, it is just for the marketing. So there's no need for that. Okay, and now I'm getting an intraop CT, which I think is going to be, fantastic.
Yeah, life changing, I guess.
Yes, so it is the same thing, and what I believe is now gone are the days when you guys are going to Europe and United States to watch surgery. The days, the future should be when those guys, they don't have enough patients like you guys have, so they have to come to you and watch because the experience is going to be in these countries where there's a lot of population and, where there's a lot of cases and these things, these fancy things. I've had everything in the world and doesn't make a difference. It's a fool with a tool is still a fool. Remember that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And you need only a good bipolar and a good suction to do good surgery. I'll say probably navigation as well. Navigation is important. These days, when you're doing minimally invasive, navigation is important.
I don't know what you think about what you have all of the labs that you can work in cadaveric specimens. I think that's the best, and that's
this is most important.
We don't have
put this on tape.
Constitutional
I'm
laws.
gonna put this on tape. Let me go live, and you guys can keep
Okay,
talking.
Okay. Just to remember, December 17, we're going to have you as a keynote speaker in our meetings from the Ecuadorian Society.
Yes, I will be honored. I'll be very honored.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll be listening to it. Thank you, John.
Byron, thank you for coming, Byron.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Iype, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Good morning from Miami Beach. This is Dr. John Bennett. It gives me great honor to welcome Iype Cherian, a huge educator in the neurosurgery field, always ready to teach, and we'll let Ahmed run the proceedings. So, good day, Ahmed. Could you please introduce yourself and on you go.
Hi, dear John. This is Ahmed Al-Ghanmi, the president of Walter Edan, the Neurosurgical Student Club of Yemen. I'm also an officer in Abdurrahman University of Neurosurgery, which is considered the first online academic degree in neurosurgery worldwide. I am so pleased and honored to welcome and to introduce Prof. Iype Cherian to get a lecture entitled with CSF and ventricular system. Hi, dear bro.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. It's an honor. Are you able to hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, John, I'm going to share my screen right now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's not full screen yet. Yeah, perfect.
It's okay?
Yes, perfect.
Right. So it's an honor to be talking to all of you guys. And today I'll go a bit informal. So we will have as John said, we'll have a discussion later as well. About 15 years back, when I was a young neurosurgeon, I had finished from one of the most premier institutes in Vellore in India. Of course, I wanted to be a skull base and vascular guy, and because that was the most fashionable thing at that time. And then I went to Japan. I was with Professor Sano, He was my mentor. He still is my mentor, and Professor Kato. And I learned the basics and advanced vascular neurosurgery and skull-based neurosurgery there. When I came back, I was all about skull-based and vascular till a small accident happened. So this is what I'm going to tell you about, how this small accident changed my life. So I have told this to a lot of people. So it's about, it was a weekend and there were two cases. So I was asked by my junior consultant to come and help him for the aneurysm. There was one aneurysm and there was a trauma. So I was asked by my junior consultant to come and help him with the aneurysm. So, 15 years back, we didn't have these fancy phones where you could send messages of the angio and, you could tell that this is the craniotomy that you require and all that. No. So I still remember the ambulance which came with the angiogram. So I looked at the angio. I was in a shopping mall. So I looked at the angiogram and I thought it's a pretty good echo aneurysm. So let's go with it. And I went in after 1 hour. There was one more trauma. So I asked this guy, we will do the trauma after the aneurysm. So I went ahead. So the guy had already opened the dura. The brain was very tense and angry. So in a tense aneurysm, generally we tend to open the opticocarotid cisterns. We went subfrontally. It was a bit difficult, but we went subfrontal, opened the opticocarotid cistern, then I put in the microscope there, and then started dissecting the lateral carotid cistern, dissected a little bit of the membrane of Lilliquist, then went back. I was not confident of opening the membrane of Lilliquist at that time. So I did not open it completely, but just went back and opened the endohemispheric and started looking at the ACOM. For about 1 hour, I went and looked at the ACOM and there was no aneurysm. So I panicked a bit. I told my assistant, I can't find the aneurysm. He said, this is not the aneurysm, this is the trauma. So I was angry. I was upset. I might have told him something that right now I cannot translate. It's not very correct. But what happened was that I suddenly realized that, this is a brain trauma. I have treated it just like an aneurysm. I thought it was an aneurysm. I didn't treat it like an aneurysm. I thought it was an aneurysm. And the brain was lax. But I didn't put the bone flap back because my conditioning was such that I could not put the bone flap back. I went back. I took the bone flap off. Next day, the brain was completely lax. The patient was pulling at the tube. And I thought, this is fantastic. If I start treating head injuries like this, so I started doing this. This was what changed my life, and that journey started from that day in 2006 sometimes, or 2007, maybe 2007 sometime. So that's where our journey started. So I made the mistake of treating a trauma as an aneurysm. So I would tell you, all of you guys, to start doing the same, but you should know how to operate an aneurysm. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why this happened. And then I'm going to tell you what did we think and how we progressed after that. You must understand, I was in Nepal for 14 years. We didn't have any basic science research facilities. I had just about the same facilities that you had, maybe a little bit more later on as we progress, but I didn't have any basic science research facilities. So I want to tell you, the biggest lab is this, your mind, okay? And if you have a childlike wonder and you have the ability to ask, why is everything happening the way it's happening, and question everything, not listen to everything that every other say, and and have the strength to go and break 100-year-old beliefs, even when people will laugh at you, they'll mock you. If you have the ability to do that, then it doesn't matter where you are. It could be in Iraq, Iran, Indonesia, South America, India, anywhere. You would win. Okay, there's no question about it. This slide is very important to me because I remember going and meeting Yasigil and talking to him about cisternostomy. And he made some very kind and very nice comments on cisternostomy. It was very nice. Initially, he was very nasty to me, but then after I explained to him, he was so impressed and he was very kind. And he told me that when we started microneurosurgery, the initial response was nasty, terrible. People said, we're doing everything without a microscope. Why have something which is so difficult and doesn't provide anything much better? This is what the comments were initially. But you see, today, microneurosurgery is a completely different thing. Thank God there were not a lot of these publishers at that time. I'll tell you something about publishing, okay? Again, this is informal. I told you today I wanted to be a bit informal. Everybody has their perspectives. My perspective is that unless a neurosurgeon learns to operate very well, he shouldn't go into the field of publishing. This is my perspective. I see a lot of young boys being led to believe that publishing makes them better. No, doesn't. We are a country, in India, we are a country where we have 1.2 billion population. And we need neurosurgeons to operate. It is the same, or it is much more in Africa, South America. You take 5/6 of the world. We need neurosurgeons to operate, not sit and publish. No, that's not what we got the degree for. We must learn microneurosurgery, but that is tough. That is not easy as publishing. Publishing is an easy way of getting into journals and getting your promotions, and that's an easy way. This is my perspective. I can tell you, you may differ with it, but this is my perspective. But if you want to do an aneurysm properly, it'll take you 5 years. If you want to do it rather very good, it'll take you 10 years or 15 years. And this life is filled with heartbreaks. It's heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. Very little to cheer for. And, very little luck sometimes. Everything that can go wrong sometimes goes wrong. It's not an easy journey. It's a thankless job. But still, this is what we are called for. This is what we must get good at. And this is exactly what will make the change. Will make the change. And if you settle back to your comfort zones, publishing the surgeries that you're never doing, looking at the data where there's not really any work, you go back to what Europe is doing right now. let me tell you, English neurosurgery, I don't think Victor Horsley would be very proud of English neurosurgery right now. I'm not, I'm not generalizing, but generally something like what Victor Horsley did once he started, something that he started. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Atul, I'm giving a lecture. Yeah, sure. So, this is not what we are going to be, the young neurosurgeons of today. You can publish only after you are good enough to clip any aneurysm. You good enough to do any spine. You're good enough to tackle any skull-based tumor. After that, you start publishing. You start publishing before, you have a problem. Why? Because we are a set of people who has a set of skills. We're not every Tom, Dick, and Harry. So we have a set of skills, and that set of skills must be so much that it must be considered like wizardry. It should be considered like magic. When you're operating, people should think, this guy knows his trade. Should not be like a guy who's come from the streets and who's doing something for the first time. No. And Byron was talking about cadaver lab. This is so important. Spend your nights, your days in the cadaver lab. Understand anatomy. Start anastomosing. Get skills. Push it. And then you will start understanding the pleasure of neurosurgery. So this, I want to tell you the last sentence. Hugo Cranbull in 1966 said, "Gentlemen, I give you the surgery of the future." So get a microscope, all of you. I have a young Dominican fellow who couldn't afford a microscope, who made an industrial exoscope, a 2D exoscope. And he's operating with that and he's sending me videos. So where there is a will, there is a way. There has to be a will. Okay, there has to be a will. Get an exoscope. Get just a cameras that can, get 10x zoom, 2D even. Get it and start operating. It's cheap. Okay. We're going to have an innovation section in Rio, and I'm chairing it. Innovation section for the World Skull-Based Conference. And you are the guys I want to see. Okay. Innovating. Throwing out, I'm talking for Zeiss for the national conference, but I'm telling you, you should throw out all these companies. You should. Okay. By making innovative products which your country can afford. Our countries can afford, and we make something. We should start the innovations instead of sitting and publishing and looking at p-values. Okay. I'm not against publishing. I don't say publishing is a bad thing, but what we need right now is advancement of surgical technique and innovative thinking. So I'm going to ask you, can brain trauma benefit from microneurosurgery? It is the only branch which is still in the dark ages. And because we have lots of it, the low and middle income countries have lots of it. UK doesn't have a lot of it. Okay. There, an entire hospital would not be doing enough trauma like a small city hospital here. Okay. My resident would do more trauma than all the so-called trauma surgeons from the West. My residents would do. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it's the same for you in South America. It's the same for you in Middle East or Africa or anywhere. And these are the guys who make policies and tell us how to do trauma. And we stand like this and admire them when they, what is the use of all these journals? I ask you, again, I ask you, what is the use of all these journals when there is social media? It is because people don't trust each other. That is the whole p-value thing, because you have to prove something. Why do you have to prove? Because you don't trust each other. Why don't we trust each other? Because there's no more integrity. We're not kind. We are not magnanimous. We don't think about others. We publish anything, whatever. If there is no control, we publish whatever. Okay, that should not be the case. Okay, unless you are a good person, you cannot be a good neurosurgeon. Always remember that. And there's no need for the guys who are controlling all these journals to tell you what to do. With your common sense and with your knowledge of what has been going on in neurosurgery, look at the history of how Dandy, how Cushing, how all these guys started. They didn't have anything. Okay, they still did a lot of cases which, 80% of the cases that you're doing today, they could do it. Okay, Drake was doing basilar aneurysms without a microscope. Okay, Drake and Peerless, we had Yuha with us for a year, and he was saying to me, I couldn't believe it. Drake and Peerless, they were doing basilar tip aneurysms without a microscope, and their mortality is better than most of the guys today. Remember that. So don't think that you don't have anything. You have everything, and what you have yourself is you are a neurosurgeon. Okay, remember that. I'm going to tell you a few things about CSF dynamics. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties of it. I only want you to understand one thing. You have brain, and the brain is suspended in CSF. This is your classical teaching. All the while you've been learning that. The brain is suspended in 120 ml of CSF, isn't it? What is the CSF doing other than just suspending the brain? Do you know that the CSF is changed 3 times every day? Why? Why is that CSF changed 3 times every day? And do you think the CSF goes into the brain at all? So these were the questions we had when Cisternostomy started working. Because if you see a scan after 2 hours after trauma, there is no CSF. All the cisterns are obliterated. Every cistern is obliterated. And the brain is swollen. And when you ask neurosurgeons, why is the brain swollen and why is the cisterns not seen? You know what is their answer? They say the brain is compressing the cisterns. You will hear this answer a lot more times than you expect. That's because we don't know. I mean, I should say we don't know shit about physics, but I wouldn't say that. We don't know anything about physics. That's why the brain cannot compress 100 ml of CSF. It's impossible. Just impossible. Okay? So what you need to understand is, if you ask a child, there's a sponge and there's a lot of water, suddenly the sponge expanded and there's no water. Where did the water go in? You will say the water went into the sponge. And is the brain a sponge actually? Yes, it is. The sponge has multiple pores going throughout the length and breadth of it. Exactly what the brain has. The Virchow-Robin spaces from the cisterns are around the vessels and they go all through the brain. And when there is traumatic subarachnoid hemorrhage, you see that? That is a cistern, that's a vessel, and that's a Virchow-Robin spaces. So the brain is actually like a sponge. The brain is like a sponge. So you have water and the brain is suspended there. Suddenly there is bleeding into this space. And what happens? The pressure there goes up. And so what happens to the water? The water goes into into the VR spaces. The water goes into the VR spaces, and that is why the brain swells up. We called it CSF shift edema. It is proven now. We said that water goes into the Varsha-Robin spaces. There was no proof in 2007. 2012, glymphatic system paper came from Nedegard and Iype, and they proved it. So we, at that time when we were talking, we didn't have any basic proof. Excuse me. So this is a glymphatic system. So that is the cisterns, and those are the vessels, and around the vessels, you can see the CSF going in to all parts of the brain. So when you imagine you have bleeding there, this cisterns will disappear because they would have discharged into this brain, and the brain will be edematous. And it's called CSF shift edema. So how do you address it? How do you address it? Addressing it is not opening a large hole at the top. That will cause this edematous brain to bulge out. On the other hand, if you go open the cisterns and let out all the blood, what will happen? The CSF will shift back. You can actually see CSF flowing back. Once you open out all the cisterns, you can see that the CSF comes in slowly. You need skull-based technique for that. You need to learn that, of course. Okay, but I'm sure the people in your country who's doing aneurysms, they have the adequate knowledge for that. You should catch them. The problem is they never come to do trauma. And the guys who do trauma are mostly guys who, I'm not generalizing in our countries, but mostly the Western so-called big trauma neurosurgeons are mostly data collectors. They are data collectors. I don't know why they still call themselves neurosurgeons. I'm being inflammatory again, but every time I press this, I tell them that when you tell them about skull-based technique, they tell you about the technique of doing decompressive. I tell them always that you need more technique to milk a cow in my farm than to do decompressive hemicraniectomy. There's no technique there. But to do an aneurysm surgery, you need technique. Okay, so that's what you guys have to learn. All right, don't listen to these chaps who tell you about technique of decompressive. All right, so I'm sorry, but decompressive hemicraniectomy, I don't believe that. And then you add something called hinge craniotomy. I really don't believe in that. It's just an extension of decompressive. Okay, you should learn aneurysm surgery. Forget cisternostomy, forget everything. You learn how to go into the cisterns, open the cisterns, clip aneurysms, and then things will come automatically. Okay. Now, we started figuring why does the CSF have to go into the brain at all? And then we figured that actually CSF is probably cooling and cleaning the brain. It is actually cooling and cleaning the brain. We didn't have evidence at first. Now we have lots of it. And again, one more thing. How is the CSF driven into the Varsha-Robin spaces? That's even more interesting. We thought it's capillary action. No, it's not. Turns out that the vascular pulsations drive it in. What a beautiful mechanism. What an amazing mechanism. I got this idea when I went to see Leonardo da Vinci's museum in Tours. The WFNS Masters holds their courses in Tours. And I was there as faculty once, and I went to Leonardo da Vinci Museum. I saw Archimedes' screw, and I suddenly realized that's exactly the way the CSF gets pumped into the brain with the arterial pulsations. Okay, this is how the arterial pulsations travel as a wave, and that's how CSF is pushed in. All right. And what is the need for this CSF being pushed in? I'm going to tell you about the cooling first. Okay. So before I tell you about the cooling, people tell me sometimes, why don't you put in an why didn't you put in a intraventricular catheter, external ventricular drain? Doesn't work because the ventricular CSF is a production phase. Production, it's being produced there. It's not communicating with your parenchyma. So you see here, they put ventricular dye, and after half an hour, that dye is nowhere in the brain. But they put cisternal dye, and within half an hour, it's everywhere in the brain. So it is the cisternal CSF that is communicating with the parenchyma, not the ventricular. Okay. So when you put a ventricular drain, you're just playing with the compliance of the brain, the very highly tense brain. The compliance curve is very steep. So you take out some 2 ml of CSF, you will bring down the pressure, but that's not going to help you. Okay, that's not really going to help you. So a ventricular drain is no way equivalent to a cisternal drain. Okay, so next time somebody asks you that, answer that question. Okay, this is Iype talking about how the CSF moves very fast. This is available on YouTube. How CSF moves very fast into the brain. This is about their paper. So this is CSF shift edema that I talked to you about. Okay, how the CSF gets shifted into the brain. And so this is an animation I made many years back, and I still stick with it. So these are the cisterns. You have VR spaces into the brain. So the brain is like a sponge. I told you, it's the VR spaces are all over. And when you have bleeding in the cisterns, the pressure goes up. The blood cannot go through the VR spaces, you see, because it's too, the RBCs are too big for VR spaces. Okay, so the blood cannot go. What goes in? The cisternal CSF. The CSF goes in. All right. So the brain expands, and the cisterns are not seen at all. So when we talked about this for the first 5 years, people laughed at us. People said, no, this is not going to be working, or everything new. Believe me, if one of you brings something new to the world, you're going to be laughed at first. Okay, most of the guys quit at that time. They say, why should I be laughed at? You know, the most important thing that one needs is respect. More than money, more than anything, one needs is respect. You don't have respect, then it's a bit of a problem. All right. So people will laugh at you. Believe me, I am warning you. Okay, you bring something new, people are going to laugh at you first. And after that, they're going to come against you with evidence. They say you have no evidence because you're from Nepal, you're from India, you're from Yemen, or you're from South America. You don't have anything. Okay, and we're going to tell you how this is done. But we had a lot of good friends, and my good friend Garnet Sutherland, he did this experiment to prove CSF shift edema, and we were able to prove with the weight, with the 7 Tesla MR. You can see the MR in the background. That's a 7 Tesla MR. And we were able to prove this. It's a fantastic experiment. And we proved CSF shift edema with this experiment. Okay. So what is the remedy? The remedy is not decompressive hemicraniectomy. It's a 100-year-old surgery, which is wrong, which is a wrong surgery. There have been so many trials. So they all talk about why decompressive hemicraniectomy doesn't work, that it doesn't work, but anything new comes, they all stand up. No, this needs randomized controlled trial. This needs this trial, that trial. I mean, how many randomized controlled trials were done before decompressive hemicraniectomy was accepted? How many randomized control trial was done before a drill in surgery was accepted? How many randomized control trial was done before the clip in clipping was accepted? And God bless all those surgeons who didn't do randomized control trial and advanced neurosurgery through trials and tribulations instead of sitting and writing something. Okay, so they were the real path breakers. In midway, we lost our way. And I want you, young guys, to say that you publish only after you become masters in neurosurgery, okay? So learn how to let out CSF. Learn how to do aneurysm surgeries and then analyze. Analysis is like becoming coaches. You know, the best players in the world, after they are retired, they go to coaching. That's the analysis job. All right. But they don't become coaches in the beginning, right? When you're 24, 25 years old, you don't become coaches, right? So analysis is for the coaches, okay? You're the players, okay? Play. So cisternostomy, by definition, is letting out CSF from the basal cisterns. There's nothing new. It's been practiced on for 50 years from Yasagil's times. Everybody knows that in aneurysm surgery, you let out the CSF and you will reduce the pressure. Same thing, nothing big, nothing small. It is the same thing. You do the same thing in trauma. It's a bit more challenging because trauma brain is a little bit more bulging, but there is a fear. How is that fear caused? Because generations of neurosurgeons open the brain from top. Obviously, when you have so much pressure and you open the brain from top, people call it brain fungus, people call it malignant brain swelling, but go to the base, you'll find the difference. Go to the base, retract a bit, get into the systems. People think it's impossible because you've been taught for generations it's impossible. It's not so, okay? My junior consultants, the fellows who've been trained with me, and every other country, you ask Samer from Iraq, you ask Vaiga and Alain from Brazil, everywhere in the world, people are doing it right now, okay? They'll tell you this myth of so-called malignant brain swelling is wrong, doesn't exist, okay? It's just some kind of fear which has been instilled into you by generations of neurosurgeons who practices this 100-year-old surgery. So that is CSF shift edema. That's a concept. Cisternostomy, we go and open the cisterns and reverse this gradient. And you see decompressive. With that kind of edema, you open this and you allow this brain to swell out. And you say that is salvage procedure. Believe me, that is converting a cemetery to a vegetable market. Okay, if that is somebody who is very unkind who told me that thing stuck, but they said it is the reality. You are converting a cemetery to a vegetable market. Okay, not very useful. Okay, and everybody will tell you that. Everybody. Okay, everybody who's done decompressives will tell you, you've done a lot of decompressives. You know that it's not useful. Okay. The decompressives which are useful in subdural hematomas, where these are cases where you really didn't need decompressives at all. And believe me, right now, it's such a win-win situation for everybody because the residents get to do something, the consultant gets to sleep, the companies get to put their titanium meshes, and all the meetings and the journals are sponsored by these companies. And the so-called trauma surgeons, they become big by just collecting data and presenting p-values and, present it in a rosy manner, and you get to be a big guy, okay? So, and present some studies, analyzing the results of what residents did. Residents, okay? So most of these trauma surgeons, they don't get into the theater. Okay, you ask them that, how do you open the systems? They have absolutely no idea, because I mean, they made their incompetence into a career, you see. That is, so don't follow them. Don't follow them. The guy in your hospital who does the aneurysm surgery, who's not well published, I'm sure thousands of those guys are there. Follow them. Don't follow the guys from the West. Go back to your hospital and see who's the guy who's doing aneurysms. Tell him, see, listen, I want you to help me with opening the cisterns. Okay, that guy will say, no, I'm not coming to trauma. Say, no, I want you to come for trauma. I want you to come and help me opening the cisterns. Do a decompressive hemicraniectomy at first, but go and open the cisterns and see the difference. Okay, and when that guy can help you, that guy can help you much, much more than any of your so-called trauma neurosurgeons who publish in the Bible journals and all that. Okay. No, that's not what you want. All right. My screen's getting stuck. Okay. So these are some of the concepts that will help you to get into the system. So this is called sagittal unlocking. This is called axial unlocking. We have published this so many times. The steps. Let me tell you one more thing. I was very stupid because I was a skull-based surgeon. I'm still a skull-based surgeon. So I was very stupid. I thought that we need transcavernous route. We need to take out the antideclinoid process. We need, we need a lot of skull-based work to open the systems. But the guys who did cisternostomy, like Roy from Switzerland, Wang from China, Parthiban from India, Dr. Weiger from Brazil, Samir from Iraq, the Iranian guys, they all said there's no need for that. You don't need to do such a complicated thing. So I initially told them, no. I described it. You better follow the way I tell you to do. So they said, no, you don't need to do all this. You just have to do some good sphenoid ridge work, open subfrontally, and you get into the systems. They were right. Okay, I was wrong. So my residents follow them, not me actually. So although I started it, my technique was, I would say in an extremely tight brain, maybe it's a bit useful to follow skull-based technique, but 99% of the times you don't need antideclinoidectomy, you don't need post-declinoidectomy, you don't need transcavernous dissection, you don't need anything. Okay, just open lateral subfrontal, you get into the optic nerve, wash out, and then you're done. And then you can go open each cisterns and membrane of liquids later on. Okay, so I was wrong there. I was stupid and silly because I was not willing to change. Now I know it can be done. So all these guys like Wang, Parthiban, Roy, I should give them the credit for simplifying cisternostomy and getting it to spread. Otherwise, I would have been the only guy talking about orbitomeningeal band resection, PCP resection, and all that for years and years, and nobody would be doing it in trauma. So, well, these are the steps. So these are my steps. I don't want you to follow my steps. You should, there are so many videos of cisternostomy by Parthiban, by Roy, by Wang. So you should get to see one of these videos. There is a cisternostomy group, WhatsApp group, and maybe you can get my WhatsApp number. You can get introduced to that group, and there's a lot of videos being posted on these groups. And you should see those, okay? Now, as far as the clinical outcomes are, I want you to ask you, can you see this scan? This is one of our very early scans, okay? Can you see how bad it is? So much edema, cisterns are not seen at all. There are contusions all over the place, okay? I don't even know what you're going to do here. Maybe left-sided decompressive, but then the right side is also really edematous, you see? Okay, left-sided decompressive is probably what you're going to do, a large decompressive on the left side. All right, so what we did is we were doing a decompressive with cisternostomy for some time, and Then after that, we started putting a thin sliver of bone, and that was the time this was, okay? And you can see the thin sliver of bone there. That's a bone, the thin sliver of bone there. That's muscle, okay? That's muscle. You see the difference? The difference here is that all the systems have opened up. Everything is opened up. So much contusions and all that. How do you expect this guy to be? And this is how he is. All right. I wish I could play the video. Oh, this is the guy who's talking. I'm asking him his name. He's talking and he's telling us his name, and it's the same guy. It's a bit difficult to believe because you should start seeing these results. And, initially we were so astounded by the results. I started fighting with all the guys who's doing decompressive. I told them it's nonsense, but maybe I was a bit wrong because there are some cases where cisternostomy will not help, and I'll tell you about that as well. Now you see this case, see the midline shift, see the contusions, see the subdural. This, and see the CP angle cistern, it's so widened, and you can see the parahippocampal gyrus herniating already. This is as bad as it comes. And you see, after the surgery, okay, no decompressive. Bone is kept back. All right, this is the guy. Okay, before he's discharged from the ICU even. See this one, VVIP patient, no cisterns at all, tight brain, came with the GCS of 6, M4, left people dilated, tentoral herniation, okay? 15 by 15 after, it's extubated in 4 days, but 15 by 15 afterwards, residual hemiparesis, cranial nerve, third palsy, now completely okay. Another one, see this one, how bad is the edema? How bad? 4, GCS of 4, M2, bilaterally fixed pupil. Immediately after the surgery, the patient came. You can see that white discolorations within the brainstem. One would think it's dural hemorrhages, okay? You see how much we had to strive to get into the cisterns. You see, that's retraction injury. But see her. That's what I want you to see. See her. She's leading a completely normal life now, okay? And if you did a decompressive, she should have been dead. I can be sure of that. See another one. How bad is the subdural? How bad is the midline shift? See, the CP angle cistern is widened here, indicating that she's going to herniate right away, okay? She's already herniating. This is before she was discharged. She came walking into my office. Another one. See, show you so many of these. This is from Czech Republic, showing the ICP drop from 48 to 11 during surgery. Another case. More. So my point here is that microneurosurgery has come into all parts of other neurosurgery. And trauma is the biggest load in LMICs. In our countries, trauma is the biggest load. Do it properly. You don't have to stand as a resident or like a fellow watching other surgeries, going to the West and standing there like a resident, standing there and watching their microneurosurgery. There's no need. You do microneurosurgery in this trauma, your patients would be benefited and you'll be masters. Do that, okay? It'll take some soul searching. It is a paradigm shift. I would call it a leap of faith. Okay, come to us if you want. Scrub with us, train with us, and after that, go back, do the surgery. Otherwise, go to your regional guys, okay, and learn how to do aneurysm surgeries. That is enough. So there are indications, these are all published in World Neurosurgery. There's so many publications from the Swiss group, Chinese groups, Iraq groups, from us, from Parthiban's group. So there are many publications. So the important question is, can trauma benefit from microneurosurgery? Yes. And can the world benefit from microneurosurgery? Yes. For trauma, microneurosurgery, yes. Stop decompressives, okay? Stop it. I wouldn't refrain from saying it's criminal, okay? It's an old surgery. It's right now, at this point of time, doing it is criminal. It's like putting holes to let out the spirits and all that, like few thousands of years back, we were doing that, all right? So it was normal at that time. Shamans could do it at that time, no more. Decompressives are like that. Anybody who's telling you you should do decompressives, you're close to that, okay? Don't do a 100-year-old surgery. We have the facilities, and don't believe that you cannot do anything because there's a lack of microscope, all right? Don't be sitting around like a duck somewhere. That's not what you are, all right? You race horses, okay? Go do things, guys. And one more thing. After we figured out the CSF was going in, we also we thought that, you see the sinuses, these are all the sinuses. And the sinuses, what it does is they are lined with wet mucosa. And when you breathe in, this air cools the sinuses. Like you wear a sweaty t-shirt and you sit under the fan, you get cooled. The sinuses are getting cooled. And the sinuses, this largest cistern is right in the center of these sinuses. And the CSF, the cool CSF, is pumped into the rest of the brain. So when you're breathing, and when your vessels are pulsating, your brain is being cooled. See what a beautiful design it is, okay? God or whoever it is, or nature or evolution or whoever it is. See what a beautiful design it is. Intelligent design, okay? We described that for the first time. So now that's in Springer Nature. Now it's accepted. In fact, when you're intubating a patient, you're taking off this mechanism. When you're intubating a patient, you're taking off this mechanism, and that part is called shunting. And you increase the brain temperature by 1.5 to 2 degrees, all right? So remember that. Intubation for a long time is not probably a good thing to do, all right? This is the Springer textbook with our chapter. Intech also has our chapter. And I'm going to play a small, I always do this because I love this, okay? So while I can understand that the saying that the pen is mightier than the sword, for us, the surgical blade is mightier than the sword. That is our dictum, not the pen. We're not writers, okay, we're surgeons. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, Ahmed? Ahmed, do you want to take over?
Hi, I'm hearing you. You hear me?
Yes, yes.
First of all, I want to thank Prof. Cherian for this fascinating and great lecture. And, Professor Salim Abdurrauf sent me a few minutes before of this lecture and told me to thank you for being with us and presenting us this great lecture. Okay, I want to just thank Professor Baron Salazar for being with us and attending this lecture. Thank you very much.
Okay. More comments from the panelists, please? Just step up. Don't be shy.
Somebody's asked me about the MCA infarction, law of cisternostomy. See, I had no experience because all these cases come to us after malignant brain edema sets in. So we started doing them and it didn't work. So we stopped it in 2007. But for the last 3 years, there's a group in Italy who's doing it early, quite early, which means after the time for mechanical thrombectomy, salvage, and intraarterial injections are over, they go ahead and do cisternostomy. So, and they have been getting excellent results. So this Italian group has excellent experience, and Shabarish Natarajan, so he's a Laligam Shegar's fellow, he's also doing a lot of these early cisternostomies, and their results are fantastic. So I don't have much experience, but for sure, I can connect you to Shabarish and I can connect you to the Italian guys, and then they are doing phenomenal work with MC infarctions and with cisternostomy.
Okay, Manuel, hi, welcome.
Hello, John. How are you?
How you doing? You want to? You didn't say it. You want to make a comment, Ty?
Yes. First of all, say congratulations to Professor Cherian for his exposition. As Professor Cherian was saying, like we need to be in the operation room all the time. I was in when I was in Karat with him, I learned the cisternostomy, and until now, we have 22 cases of cisternostomy. I received a lot of questions about cisternostomy because people, the first of all, as Professor Cherian says, if you don't understand the basic, of course, you don't gonna understand. A lot of people still, very old people in this field ask me, but I can use a ventricular drainage. And I look with this face like, but it's 20 milliliters. And as Professor Cherian explained, if we don't understand the function of the visual roving space and what happened there, there is no way out. So there is a lot of paradigm we need to change. And again, I congratulate Professor Cherian because he's trying to change this game, to say in war, this game. And if we can take this cisternostomy to the, not only to the low income country, to all over the world, because I see the result. And we are watching the result of the cisternostomy in the patients. And until now, I showed to Professor Cherian because I receive a lot of, barriers here. First, the drill. In a lot of places, first the drill. Second, the microscope. And now we are getting different parts because this isn't reality. Cisternostomy came to stay. And if you don't want to accept it or learn it now, one day you need to, and it's gonna become a basic part of the cisternostomy. And when you say, I don't use cisternostomy, people gonna look at you like, you are in the cave time or what? So thank you so much, Professor, again, for motivating all of us with the cisternostomy. Thank you all.
Thank you, Manuel. And I'm really proud of you. I am proud of the way you are doing with the exoscope. And even in resource limited countries, you are proving that the third world is in your mind. There's no third world. Third world is only in your mind. Okay. We are the leaders. All right. Because we have the patience. We will have the experience if we do the right things. Okay. No more third world. We are the first world. When it comes to this kind of surgeries and things, we have the skills, we have the attitude, we can struggle and survive. So this is what you're showing, and I'm proud of you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor.
I think Harshad has a comment. Welcome, Harshad. Do you want to make that comment?
Hi, John.
How you doing? Welcome.
Good, good. Hi, Iype.
Hello, Harshad. Good to
Hi,
see you.
and yeah, good to see you. I've heard you so many times about cisternostomy, and every time you bring up something new. And nice of you to bring up this topic. My comment was for the MCA. In fact, somebody was asking, and I'm doing it very regularly. And believe me, it has changed the results into the simple decompression versus the cisternostomy. Even in the, in fact, and I agree, malignant brain edema, when it sets in, the results are not good. And usually we avoid operating on those cases. These cases are being sent to us by the neurophysician, and it is on their whims and whims when to operate and not to operate. So, but the results are fantastic with the cisternostomy. I leave a drain there, ventricular drain, EVD, and drain the CSF every day. And 3-4 days we drain, and the results are really phenomenal. So in my experience, yes, in MC or IC, in fact, it does work. It really helps to reduce the swelling. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Harshad. So you're probably doing it early. That is what you're doing. And also somebody, Byron had asked, what is the size of the standard craniotomy? We do a large craniotomy. Okay, we do a large craniotomy because it's standard. I mean, there was a time when we started doing small supraorbital craniotomies for cisternostomies, but the problem is that cannot be a standard. So as a standard, we do a large frontotemporal craniotomy, and we do a lot of drilling the sphenoid ridge and go lateral subfrontal and open resistance.
Yeah, I call it a heavy craniotomy.
Yeah.
Okay, Yao, Christian, you had a comment? Go ahead, Yao, unmute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, John. Thank to Professor Cherian for this such a great lecture. I've followed you only once about cisternostomy. This is the second time I'm listening to your lecture, and it's been really a great pleasure. And so far, we are still doing at this point, place over here, we are still doing this. Some 2 years ago, neurosurgery, as you just said now, we are still doing this kind of decompressive craniotomy. We are still doing this EVD and all those old school stuff, as you actually said. And while I'm listening to you, I just want to pass through this screen and get to your OR and watch, learn from you. This is great. This is very nice. Thank you very much for sharing this knowledge. And I want the one thing that I want is, I don't know if it's possible for us to join the is it WhatsApp group or a group where you share the video of the surgery or the scene?
Yes, I will share my number here.
Okay.
That'll be 00918518891111. So that'll be my number. So you can message me and I can put you into the WhatsApp group.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Great. Yao, where you from, Yao? Where you from?
I'm from Benin Republic in West Africa.
Okay, welcome.
Undergoing some surgical training in Morocco, and right now I'm in France I'm undergoing this fellowship in France.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
More comments, questions?
Guys, I may have to log out soon. I am going in for something else, so I may have to log out.
Yeah, let's do a quick session of the neurosurgical TV Zoom lounge, okay? Just so they can meet you, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me go out for a second. I'll come back in a second. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I put the link in your WhatsApp page to come in. Okay. Okay. I guess we can wrap it up. And you're all welcome to come to the after Zoom. The link. Let me put the link in again. Iype's going to come, and Ahmed's going to come, and hopefully all the residents are coming, and students too. It's going to be private, not going to be televised, and not going to be public. It'll be a private Zoom. Okay, so the link is there. I hope to see you all there. Okay? Okay, Ahmed?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, we'll see you there.
Okay.
I'm going to end this now. Okay. Get that link now. I'll give you another minute. Get that link. I'm going to shut down this Zoom. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to get that link.
Okay.
And we'll see you in a private Zoom. Hopefully you guys will be more open. Okay, we're going to end it here. Okay. See you over there.